Good morning. My name is Francis Bouchard. I'm the head of Zurich's Climate Office. I'm also the incoming head of our General Insurance Proposition Development function. Thank you for coming to hear what we think is some pretty interesting and exciting news about risk managers and their thoughts on climate as well as other risks. Zurich set up its climate office in 2008 after having extensive dialogue and conversations with customers and brokers and government stakeholders, employees, and what we really intended to do with our climate office is bring together expertise in this topic and really help the organization figure out what does climate change mean, not just for us as a company, but also for our customers and brokers. So part of that is getting a handle on our own carbon management program. We didn't have one prior to the climate office. We have one today. And we have established a target to reduce our own carbon emissions by 10% by 2013. And while we're finalizing our 2009 results, and they'll be published soon, I can tell you we're making significant progress. We're pretty excited about that. But we're also extremely focused on developing new products to help our customers address the risks that they're starting to face as a result of climate change. And we'll talk a little bit about that, and we've been quite successful in the last couple of years under Lindine's leadership, and the business has really taken this on upon themselves of making a difference for a lot of customers in a lot of ways in the climate area. So part of that, probably key to that, has been engaging our customers and other stakeholders in a dialogue about climate issues, which is why we're so excited to have partnered with PRMIA and Ceres here and to come up with a survey and to roll us out today. So with no further ado, what I'd like to do is quickly introduce the panelists here, and we can get to the survey results and really start talking about why we're here. To my immediate left is Lindine Patton. Lindine is the Chief Climate Products Officer for Zurich Financial Services. Next to her is Sohalia Fitzpatrick, who is a member of the steering committee for PRMIA's Boston chapter, and also a certified risk expert. And next to her is Mindy Lubber, who is the president of Ceres. And accompanying her is a colleague, Charlene Lurig, who's the senior manager of insurance for Ceres. So with that, Lindine.
Thank you, Francis, and thank you very much again to Ceres and PRMIA for partnering with us in this important activity. Climate change and the public policy responses to climate change are really creating new risks, not just physical risks, but risks that are liability risks. In other words, risk profiles are changing as a result of climate change for a multitude of stakeholders. This survey clearly shows that risk managers acknowledge that climate change creates new and substantive risks for their organizations. But now we need to better define those risks in a way so that we can take more specific actions to develop responsive risk management solutions necessary to de-risk the transfer to a low-carbon economy for all the stakeholders that we serve. With that, I'd like to turn it over to PRMIA.
Thank you. Thanks to Ceres and Zurich for letting us collaborate with them. The Professional Risk Managers International Association, short PRMIA, sets a very high standard for risk professionals. We have 60 chapters around the world, 67,000 members around the world, and we have presence in 198 countries. So we are quite a global player as far as risk management is concerned. PRMIA is a non-for-profit. It's led by its members, and it's dedicated to training and implementing best practices in risk management and sort of thinking outside the box. This is done through our various training media. For example, we have a professional risk manager certification. It's called the PRM. The other one is basic training that's called associate risk manager. That's a PRM certificate. And we have regular webinars, online training, in-house, and special events, and networking sessions for our members. And this is all done based on volunteerism. We have a very collaborative culture, and that's why we have worked with Ceres and Zurich to collaborate on this climate risk survey, and we really take pride in being able to be part of this. And if you need more information about PRMIA, as it has a very critical role in managing risk and educating risk managers for today and tomorrow's risks, such as the one we just had, the volcano and earthquakes and so forth. Please take a look at our website, and I'll be available at our booth during the conference at RIMS, and happy to answer any questions. With that, I turn to Ceres.
Great. Well, thank you, and thank you to the leaders on this panel. While political havoc seems to reign consistently on the issue of climate change, seeing leadership from industry sectors that are impacted by climate is certainly heartwarming and important. So your leadership on this is more than welcome. Good morning. As was said, my name is Mindy Luber. I run an organization called Ceres, a leading coalition of investors and environmental groups working with companies across the world to address sustainability challenges such as climate change. I also direct the Investor Network on Climate Risk, which is a $10 trillion network of investors focused on the business impacts of climate change and how to integrate them into their analysis. Our focus here today is climate change, a very real and profound global threat that is already sending ripples across numerous business sectors, none more so than the insurance industry. The risks are deep and wide, be it regulatory, physical, litigation, reputation, but risks that impact companies, and when companies are impacted and facing risks, indeed, insurance companies are impacted. Despite the noise from a small number of skeptics, we cannot lose sight of the fact that the overwhelming consensus of scientists is global climate change is happening and that human-induced pollution is driving it. Melting glaciers in Montana, receding sea ice in the Arctic, and earlier springs here in New England are just a few of the telltale signs of this irrefutable trend. And it is equally irrefutable that climate change is changing human behavior. Governments at all levels in the United States and abroad are starting to mandate greenhouse gas reductions, cleaner electricity generation, and energy efficiency initiatives. And consumers are demanding change. Large emitters are facing lawsuits in states and beyond. And to say that developments like these aren't altering companies' business models and strategies would be to ignore reality. Ceres has been focused on climate risk and its impact for insurers since 2005. Our first report on the topic was announced literally just as Hurricane Katrina was hitting Louisiana and Mississippi, leaving a path of destruction unmatched in terms of human devastation, physical devastation, and insured losses. More frequent and extreme weather events such as flooding, intensified droughts, and stronger coastal storms are among the impacts we can expect to face from a gradually warming planet. And while political leaders in Washington may not yet acknowledge this, insurers indeed do. They have to. They're the first people to get the calls when calamity strikes. They have the smartest and best risk assessors, and they are looking at the numbers, and they're clear. The industry has focused significant attention to this issue in the past few years. Insurers are now using sophisticated risk models for projecting climate-related impacts, and they're rolling out dozens of climate-related insurance products. Products such as drought insurance protection, wind energy insurance, and auto insurance that rewards drivers for driving less. They're also being pressured by regulators to provide better disclosure on climate-related impacts they foresee, and their strategies for responding to those impacts are clear.